Good morning, guys. Glad to see that you are with us. Morning, Luke, or good evening, as the case may be. Look, again, good to have you with us again. And WB, hope you're all having a really good week. I've had a reasonable week. I've had a stinking head cold, but it's pretty well gone now. So if my voice is a little bit off, that's all it is. But yeah, not too bad. But yeah, an interesting one as far as the campaign was concerned as well. Um, I wasn't actually sure if we were going to do live this week, but then when you commented that you wanted to do it, Luke, I was like, yeah, sure, let's go for it. Why not? We can have a debrief over it, what we thought was good, what we thought uh, wasn't so good, both in game and rule wise, and then also look forward to the next campaign, the Roman invasion. Gallant foe. Nice to see you. yeah. But yeah, just as a quick recap for anyone who just stumbles across this video in due course and hasn't been following along, we've been refighting the campaign of 1814, and this being the final turn, we had the whole of the Allied forces moving in against the French under Napoleon, who had taken up defensive positions at Provine. It was a good, strong defensive position, and the Allies, due to the having to use all the different road networks, came on a bit piecemeal, but it was quite a strong offensive force for them. As the battle progressed, the Prussians pretty well were broken in their assault against the town. The Austrian reinforcing units, they weren't strong enough at that stage to do anything extra, so it was down to the Russians who were making progress in the south. But probably it would have been, I don't know, you guys comment, you've seen the video too. I would say probably if Napoleon hadn't been killed by that cannonball shot, that random shot, it would probably end up being a draw, because although the Russians still had a lot of troops, those French troops in the town had been relatively unengaged, so they were all still pretty strong, and they were guard troops. So it would have been semi-depleted Russians, although quite a lot of them, attacking a town against guard. It would have been a very bloody battle, that's for sure. And I think if it hadn't been a French win, it would probably have been a tie. So yeah, that's just my thoughts, but yeah, interesting to see what you guys think. Hey, Will, good to have you with us again. But yeah, so an interesting battle for sure. We had the extra reinforcement. Yeah, we did. So this brigade of infantry coming across could have made all the difference in the next day. I think if they had managed to make it this turn, it would have made a big difference as well. But the fact that they just weren't quite able to make it, if they could have been thrown down into the southern side, for instance, just to hold up those Russians even more, or they could have stopped those Prussian lancers from coming on when they did. Just anything, they would have made such a big difference. It was very, very. It would have made a really interesting change. But ifs and whats. When I saw the battle forming, I was less hopeful. The cannoneer gets a medal for winning the war. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a. It was actually a fluke. I mean, I was playing as the Allies there, and I was just getting ready for that final assault, and thought, well, those cuirassiers, they are the biggest threat there really at the moment, because they smash all of our infantry. So I concentrate my limited artillery on trying to take them out. And then just by chance, we rolled, and it's like, oh, an officer's been wounded. Which one is it? Is it Napoleon, or is it the commander? Rolled again. It's like, oh, it's Napoleon. And then roll again, and he's killed. We were both in disbelief. Keep believing, like history has been written. Yeah. But no, I think overall I was pretty happy with the way the campaign flowed. I think we started back here, and we had the initial assaults where the French were kind of doing their fighting withdrawal, a bit of maneuver in the center. Then I'm trying to think back; it's been so many weeks. Yeah, we had the defensive lines along the river, and then the Russians doing their not their amphibious assault, their bridging operation in the center, which then split the French forces and then allowed the French to get pushed back, which was really quite a good turn. yeah, then we had Schwarzenberg, who when he marched up north and finally got taken out. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Lots of movement, which I liked, and I think played out quite accurately to the historical way things did. Obviously, in history, you had sort of Blucher coming around up north. So you had Napoleon kind of going down to fight Schwarzenberg, then going up to fight Blucher, and backwards and forwards. So it was a little bit different, but similar ending, I guess. Let's have a look. What are the comments? As long as history shows me a brave, honourable general. Yep. Yeah, I think no one can doubt that. The whole focus of the war was Napoleon's ego. No head, no ego. Yeah. Well, sad thing is that poor old Wellington will now fade from history. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although his Peninsula campaign is pretty interesting. I'm not sure if any of you have listened to or watched Redcoat History, the YouTube channel or the podcast. He does a lot. I think he did the second season. The first season was all about the Zulu Wars, and the second season was all about the Peninsula campaign. That's worth a watch if you're interested at all in that campaign. But yeah, definitely wouldn't be the name that we know today. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, what did you guys think overall of the campaign? What would you say were the high points, the low points, things that were good, things that could be improved? Old Bootsman will still be remembered for liberation of Iberia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did become prime minister. Would he have been prime minister if he hadn't won Waterloo, though? That's another side to it. I'd say he'd probably be considered one of our better generals, but I don't know whether he'd be considered the best general. It's obviously debate, but usually people would say he's one of, if not the best. But if it hadn't been for Waterloo, would he? Interesting thoughts. The main show was here, especially with that one show. Yeah, I know. The Medal of Honor, even though that's American, or the Victoria Cross, even though that doesn't start for another 50 years or so, goes to that Russian gunner. I'm not sure what the Russian medal would have been at that time, if they even had one for exceptional valor. But whatever it was, that man gets it. I mean, I would say, just going back to what I was talking about a second ago, I think the initial turn or two turns, I did make the mistake of not moving the troops far enough. I sort of misread the measurements, and so instead of going, we were moving the daily allowance, but on a weekly basis. So they were doing their sort of what was it, 7 mils or something, and that was it. Whereas actually they should have been going 7 centimeters. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember making that mistake and then realizing, and then they, from I think it was turn 2, instead of going about that far, they ended up making the proper movements that they were supposed to, and then things started moving nicely. Let's go back to your comments. Great campaign. Enjoyed it. Tough to hold you all off. Yeah. As for the campaign, it was great fun. Did a great job as moderator. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. It was good. And I would say thanks to all of you, because your comments and your ideas as we've gone along have, like, the campaign kind of evolves as we go with, I think it was it you, Will, with your ideas on the options and then eradicating the lowest voted one. That made a big difference as well. So yeah, all of your ideas as you come up with them, I think are really good. On the weekly basis, when we come up with ideas and we just put it to you guys, you make the call, and then we either roll a dice or we just go for it. It's a good communal activity. It's solo gaming, but it's not solo gaming. It's community, but it's a good hybrid, which I like, especially when you live in the middle of the bush like I do. But no, I think overall it was a good conclusion. It's one of those things. If you wanted to be gamey and just play it as a game, yeah, the French, all you'd have to have done is just withdrawn and just outrun the Allies, and then the French would have won on points. But we're not gamers, we're war gamers, so we have to do it the right way. And yeah, I think it ended on a good note. So congratulations to all commanders on all sides. One thing I was thinking about, so I just want to say I'll read your comments. It's what makes this weekly show interesting. Yeah, I agree. And I truly love how you have done these campaigns. Thanks very much. Yeah, I enjoy it too. Maybe next time you might want to set sides for the players and some ways to mitigate the gods' view. Yeah. I've been trying to think of ways around that. So any ideas that you guys have, do let me know. One thing I was thinking about, I thought about it too late in this campaign, but for that final battle, I was thinking of trying to figure out a way that if any of you had wanted to, we could have chosen a time which kind of works for everyone, and then we could have just done a live war game, and then you would have been able to just by typing in. So it would have had to have been sort of brief orders, brief instructions, but one of you would have had this division over here, and another one would have had that division, and then you'd have made your comments. I want my division to move, I don't know, to attack the farmhouse, and then I'd have read that and be like, attack the farmhouse. Okay, cool, and then probably move it to the wrong farmhouse. But that's how I would have interpreted the orders. So that's something we could try and do sometime in the future. I need to put a bit of thought into how it would happen, but I think that would be quite cool. Discord, where you can sort people into sides. Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I'll look into Discord in that case. But that's definitely an option for something in the future to try and get everyone involved in the game. The only issue with that will be the time differences. I guess Friday for me is morning, 9 o'clock. Luke, I'm not sure what time it is there, maybe like 7 o'clock at night. And everyone else is sometime in between. So that would be a kind of our issue, would be trying to find a time that works for everyone. But if we can, I think that would be quite cool. Yep, agreed there. People won't be honest. So yeah, it would have to just be simple instructions, and then me and whoever I'm playing against will just read the instruction and be like, oh, okay, cool. Yep, you want us to move the light cavalry from your division full speed forwards to take that hill. Cool. We just move them full, and then that's it. I mean, you can go into as much detail as possible, but if we run out of time for that turn, again, we'll have to do something like that. Put turn time limits for the orders. So if you start writing War and Peace, we're never going to get to the end of it, which means your troops actually don't move that turn. Something along those lines might be interesting, but I think we're digressing a bit at this stage. Just something to think about going forwards. Just gone 8 p.m. Yeah, so that's the only thing we'd need to think about is times for that. But everyone sees the situation map. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your campaign there, Will. Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. How you're going to do that. So definitely looking forward to giving that a try with you. And if it gives us some good ideas, then we may be able to implement them. Not a live Discord thing. To be honest, I've never used Discord, so I'll have to look into it and try and get some ideas on how it works. Because yeah, I've got no idea what it actually is. Yeah, I think I'm with you there, Luke. Discord, what is that? I've heard that it's some sort of platform where you can do live streaming, but I really don't know. So we'll get around to that. A 6-faction Discord. Oh, interesting. Cool. But yes, I think if everyone at the start, yeah, it would have to be one of those things for the next campaign. Let's just say at the start, you'd have to declare who you're going to be with. I'm going to be with the Romans. I'm going to be with the Britons, etc. And then it's up to you whether you would watch the main videos, because they're going to be a bit of everything, because they're made as well, not just for us, but also for people who just might stumble across them. But I guess I could put a pause in between, like, if you're a Britain player, stop listening now and flick forwards to minute 5 or whatever, and that way you won't see the Roman stuff. And then that might be the way to do it. Yeah, something along those lines. We could have a Discord, whatever that is, or set up some sort of area so that information can be shared, which is only relevant to the Roman player or the Britain player. But yeah, see how it goes. They sent moves into their private channel to me, then I, as the GM, would enact what happened. Okay. All right, yeah. I can leave that one with me, but if any of you do actually have advice for Discord, just probably put it up on the Facebook page. And look, if you've got any videos or anything which you've done which might include that, that sort of campaign, then yeah, let me know, and then I can have a look, and hopefully it'll give me some ideas. Sorry, as I said, this cold hasn't quite gone yet, so colds are the pain in the neck, aren't they? You sort of talk normally and you get out of breath just talking. It's ridiculous, but never mind. So yeah, overall, I think that pretty well sums up our 1814 campaign. I think it was a great success. And so once again, thanks to all of you. Next one, as we've said, is the invasion of Britain. In AD 43, I should just stipulate, it's not Caesar's, it's the latter invasion. The rule book is pretty well finished, just needs to be finalized. The campaign is pretty well there. Again, I just need to finalize the last few bits and pieces of it. And I also need to put together the miniatures now. I've created them on to print, so they're ready to be printed. I just need to print them and then paint them. So that's going to take me a little bit of time. But I'm thinking probably give it a month. So what are we now? It's basically April. So probably mid to late May, we'll probably get started on the next one because I want a bit of time to do other battles, some more World War II, different time periods, and do some other things. These campaigns take quite a bit of sort of my free wargaming time each week. It's just focused straight on the one campaign and the one time period. So the other areas kind of suffer. So I'm looking forward to doing a bit of World War II and stuff like that over the next 6 to 8 weeks as well. So yeah, probably mid-May, we will start getting the preliminary information together and getting the scene set. And then by the end of May, we'll actually be right into the action. So put that in your diaries. For Britain or the glory of Rome. Yeah, exactly. My hometown is in the southeast. It'd be funny if there was, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I've worked it quite nicely. I mean, it's kind of a tricky one because it's not just Romans versus Britons, it's Romans versus certain Briton tribes, and you've got other Briton tribes who side with the Romans because they don't like the others and they want to gain more power and influence. So, diplomacy, which you guys might not notice too much on the wargaming aspect of it, but within the rules is written in, and how there's kind of a diplomacy phase so that you can try and influence tribes to your side. And then once they're allies, then their forces become available. So there's bits and pieces like that which will be at play, which I think will make quite a good impact in it. I'm in America. We only make movies about Rome. Although people do say, so who knows? Maybe the Romans sent one ship sometime which got lost. Picked aside. Nice. I like it. As long as Will doesn't become Ridley Scott for it. All right. Don't get me started on the latest Gladiator film. When are those rules going to be posted? So the rules, as soon as I've got these last bits and pieces done, I would say give it 2 to 3 weeks. The only thing really holding me up now is I need to, or let me rephrase that. The only big thing now holding me up is photos. And until I printed the minis and painted them, I don't really have any stuff to put in, unless I just go through the internet and just take other people's pictures, but I wouldn't feel too great doing that. So a couple of weeks and I will have finalized all of the rules themselves, and I should have all the photos and stuff ready by then. So I would say end of April, it will be available. Then mid-May, we will get started with the sort of the background and getting the information and getting everyone ready for the campaign. And then probably the last week of May, we will dive straight into it and start up again. But yeah, as always, though, if any of you have questions or ideas or suggestions about this campaign or the next one, especially things like Discord, let me know. Yeah, just on Facebook, just let us know. Put a comment in. I'll get back to you. Luke, I did see yours. Sorry, I saw your comment about the Patreon. I will send you the link. So I was, as I said, had this cold, saw your comment, fell asleep the next day, forgot all about it, but I am on it. So as soon as we finish here, I will send that through to you. Rules are fun to buy. I've only played one. Oh, glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I've definitely got, having played through them, created them and played through them. Probably there will be a version 2 at some point where some of the smaller areas where in hindsight I'm like, oh, maybe that would have been better or this would have been better. There might be some small minor alterations, but to be honest, I'm pretty satisfied with them, and I'm trying to keep each of the periods off running off the same sort of system, so that it's easy. You can kind of, within fairness, move between period, and it's just the troop types themselves that are going to be slightly different. But yeah, overall, I think they're working quite nicely. I do feel like going back to the pike and shot one again, the campaign, that was good fun. With Waller, it seems every time we have a campaign, there are notable characters that come out. If you think in that first one, you had Waller, who kept escaping and doing all of his bits and pieces, and there was the big chase to catch him. In the valley, who was it we had in the valley? I can't remember who it was now, but there was definitely someone who kept popping up or here, there, and everywhere and doing all sorts of mischief. In this one, we had Nay with his audacious battles over here where he was cut off, then he broke through, and then he was fighting here, and then he got trapped under there, and he worked his way through, had his fighting withdrawal. Every time we seem to get these good notable characters, which is always good fun. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next one, and I think that's pretty well it from me this week. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for taking part in the campaign, and as always, thank you for all of your support. And what's this? ACW, ECW, NAP, and Rome, all my favorite. That's good. Yeah. In that case, we've seen for being hitting them all one after another. So that's awesome. Oh, also, has anyone seen the new American Revolutionary War miniatures by Epic Battles? I've got a video which I'm going to release shortly on that. I'm not too sure what I think of them at this stage. They look okay. They look pretty good, but there's a few issues I see with them. But interesting that they've decided to go for that period. At the beginning of this campaign, you thought my plan of attacking with Nay was bad. Yeah. I think that was the thought. Oh, if he goes down there and gets trapped, it could be disastrous. But he came out to be man of the campaign, I'd say. Unsure as a period. But yeah, so I think that'll do us for now. And he's going to take some medication. But yeah, take care, everyone. Stay well. You too will. For Epic, I was hoping for this. Yeah, I thought 7 Years War would have been good. Kind of split the difference there. But yeah, 250-year anniversary of American War of Independence. So that's probably what it is. But yeah, thank you all so much. And I will speak to you all again soon. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.